Hey there guys, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of ARK Survival Mode on the Xbox One, although this isn't really a true episode. You guys really wanted me to do a video talking through all of these new settings because, don't get me wrong, these can be very intimidating and they are quite complex when you get down to it. To be honest, I'm very impressed with the fact that Wildcard has given us this many custom options, especially for single player. This is the kind of thing we're used to on PC gaming, so to have all of this in a console version is pretty damn impressive, and to be honest, I'm really surprised they've gone to this level, and like I say, quite impressed that they've managed to do this. However, if you do mess about with these too much, this does mean you can completely screw up your world and you can make crazy things happen. On one side, you can make things go wrong. On the other side, you can make things super fun and try and break the game and have a bit of fun with these. So I'm going to go over pretty much all of them. There's a couple of little things I'm not 100% on, but I'll be honest, I've been speaking with one of the developers of the game, and even not everyone at Wildcard knows what everything does exactly because it's so in-depth. So I'll do my best to explain what there is, and obviously I'll just skip over things that aren't too important and go more in-depth things that you guys are going to want to know about. Also, if you do enjoy this, find it useful, smash the like button. Anyway, into what is going on here. So let's have a look on the left-hand side here. I'll go over some of the things that were in it originally, just in case any of you didn't see my original video. So difficulty setting, I like to have this on 1. This is the level of wild dinos and the quality of the stuff that you're going to get in drops. Obviously, if you want to make it easier, you go down to 0. If you want to make it more difficult and have high level dinos or whatever, have it up on 1. Stuff on the left, really not too important, more for people who are going to be running their own server more than doing single player, and some of this stuff is more like for servers really than your single player world, although it does affect both, and you can customize them for both. Obviously we've got no downloads, survivor downloads, so this is like the ability to bring across dinos you've got from other servers and to bring across characters you've got from other servers and so on. PvE mode, hardcore mode, pretty self-explanatory. Let's go to the general stuff over here, which is more important. So I'll try and just skip over these quite quickly because this was already in here. Dino damage, the amount of damage that a dino will do. The higher to the right, the more damage a dino will do to you. Player damage, the same again, the amount of damage that you do to things. So if you put this to the right, you're going to one-shot everything. Structure damage, same kind of thing, just with structures obviously. Player resistance, if you put this down to 0, you won't be hurt at all. And if you put it all the way up to 6, you'll just get one-tapped by everything. Dino resistance, this is how resistance dinos are. So if you put this up to 6, dinos will just get one-shotted. If you put it down to 0, you can't hurt dinos. Structure resistance, again, not too important. XP multiplier, the amount of experience you'll get for doing things, killing things, making things, so on. Taming speed, pretty obvious. Structure damage repair cooldown. When your structure gets damaged, say in PvP, you can't repair it straight away, so this affects the amount of time before you can repair it again. I'd presume put it to the left and you can repair instantly. Dino turret damage, the amount of damage that turrets will do to dinos. These kinds of settings here are all really for about servers and trying to get a balanced PvP server rather than going to affect your single player world too much. Dino harvesting damage, I'm pretty sure that just means the amount of resources your dino gets when hitting stuff. I'm not 100% on that one though. Harvest amount, the amount of resources you're going to get from hitting things. Character water drain, food drain, obvious. I think that stuff's mega obvious. I don't think you need to go into that one. Health recovery, I think it's the more to the right, the quicker you'll start recovering health. At least that's what I've seen so far. And harvesting damage is the amount of damage you'll do from hitting things. So if you put this down to, I think it's 0. Yeah, if you put it down to 0, then you will get everything from it. I'm pretty sure. We'll double check by going over some of the other stats as well. Anyway, those are the simple ones. Excuse me talking mega fast, but I thought they were kind of obvious. Rules here. These rules are more, like I say, for if you're going to run a server, stuff you might want to allow or disallow. So you can have it on an ARK server so that you have PvE during certain times of the day and PvP during other times of the day. I have this on one of my PC servers, and it's really useful. You can play about with this, but that's all that this basically is. And the other stuff I think is pretty straightforward. I don't think anyone's really going to need too much info for that, and I don't think any of you are going to be too worried about that. Right, into world. This stuff is a bit more interesting. A lot of this stuff is brand new. Day cycle speed, the amount of time it takes to go from midnight to midnight. If you put it up, it'll be quicker. If you put it down, it'll be slower. Same with daytime speed. Put it to the right for quicker, left for slower. Spoiling time. Now, if you put this all the way up to 6, stuff is going to spoil mega slowly. If you put it down to 0, it's going to just basically instantly go off. So be very careful with this. It can be a tricky one, and obviously you need spoiled meat to make narcotics, so you probably don't want it one way or another, like too much anyway. Item decomposition time and corpse decomposition time. When I put these to defaults, they were on 0, so I'm going to presume if you put them to the right, things will take longer to decompose. I haven't tested that one yet. No respawn radius players and no resource radius structures. This is how far away things will regrow if either you're there or if a structure is there. So for instance, you know, when you put a foundation down, things around it won't grow. This will change that. If you put it down lower, I'm presuming, although I haven't messed around with this one, that will mean that things will literally grow back around it and it won't matter too much. Crop growth speed, if you put this one all the way to the right, things will grow quicker. Put it all the way to the left, they'll go slower. Same for crop decay speed. If you put it all the way to the right, they will decay sooner. If you put it all the way to the left, they will take longer to decay. Now, this one's interesting. We've got intervals. Intervals is something where you should think whenever you see it, it's the time between. Do you want less time between what it's saying, or do you want more time between what it's saying? So for poop, if you want your animals to poop like crazy, you put this down a bit. I would not recommend putting it on 0. I've heard reports of people putting it on 0 and just being absolutely drowned in poop. Again, laying egg interval, I believe this relates to just normal eggs, not the fertilized ones that you get from mating. If you want loads and loads of eggs, you put this to the left. If you don't want any eggs for whatever reason, you put it all the way to the right. Mating interval, again, how much time do you want between being able to mate your things? If you want less time between being able to mate them, you put this to the left. So let me show you. If you want to be able to mate something again instantly, you put this down to 0. Egg hatch speed, how quickly the egg will hatch. If you want your egg to hatch really quick, you put this up to 6. Baby mature speed, again, if you want your baby to mature really quick, you put this up to 6. So this kind of is really where you want to be. I've been putting it on around here at the moment, because I think it changes it a little bit, makes it so I get more eggs, but it's nothing too ridiculous. And this is how I've got it for the mating stuff. Now, baby food consumption is also something to do with breeding. Once you get a little baby come out of your egg or come out of the mammal or whatever it is, you need to put food in it so that it doesn't die. Otherwise, it will die. Now, this is the speed that the food gets consumed by the baby. Now, you could put this down to 0.1, and that would mean that it would eat very slowly. Now, this sounds good because you won't have to put like meat or whatever it is in it so often. However, I'm not 100% sure whether this relates to how quickly it will grow. Now, I wouldn't think it would, because obviously we've got the mature speed for that. However, on a little bit of testing, I found that when I put this down quite low, it did seem to grow slowly, even though I had the baby mature speed up. So I'd recommend putting this at 1. Obviously, if you want to experiment, you could put it up or down. But be careful with that one. Harvest health, if you want to actually get something and you want to harvest all of it straight away, put this down to 0. This is how I get my 21 times gather rate on my single player. I put that all the way down to 0 and gather rate up to 6. Resource respawn period, again, if you want things to instantly come back into the world, you put this down all the way to the left. So now on to another complicated one, stats. This one can really mess things around, and what I've done is I've put these down. I've put these down to default. So this is how it's going to look by default. So what we've got here, 4 different sections, all of which will affect your dinos. And also, this works retroactively. So if you apply these changes and then go into your world, it will apply the changes to things you've already tamed. So not just new stuff you tame, but stuff you've already tamed, it will affect that. So you can have loads of fun with this, and you can also completely break your game with this or make it really difficult. So first of all, on the top left hand side of these 4 corners, we've got wild dino stats per level. So this is just completely to do with how the dino behaves while it is wild. So if you, for instance, you want it to have loads of health, you smash everything to the right. If you want them to have loads of stamina, smash everything to the right. If you want them to have 0 health, smash that all the way to the left. Pretty self-explanatory. Now, the next bit is a little bit confusing. You've got 3 stages of Tame Dino. Really just 2 stages of Tame Dino. So the top right-hand side one is Tame Dino stats per level. These are the dino stats that you see once it's knocked out. Now, this is a bit confusing because you might think, well, surely it's just the wild stats and then you knock it out and then that's what that is. But it's not that. This is 2 different, totally separate things. Once you knock the dino out, it then produces its stats per level. It doesn't really have the same as it does for the wild dino stats. I mean, they're similar, but obviously they can be different. For example, things like the Giga have a huge amount of difference in between wild and once you actually tame them, or once you knock them out. So this top right hand side one is the stats you see once something is knocked out per level. So obviously at level 120, if you put this health up to like 1, it's going to have a lot of levels in health, or a level 1 is going to have not so many in health. So just try and picture that. I know it's a little bit difficult, but that is the number you see once it's unconscious. Now, the bottom right hand side one is stats affinity, and this again is a very confusing one. This is the amount of stats, or so to say, this is how the stats will be affected in between it being knocked out and it waking up. So as you'll probably know, when you tame something, it has certain stats, and then say you tame something at a level 120 and you get 60 plus levels. Those levels will then be applied to the statistics and it will give you some extra bonus levels. So it might have had 1k health when you put it when you made it unconscious, and then when it wakes up it might have 2k health. The affinity is what changes that. So if you put this up, when you actually tame something, when it wakes up it will have a lot more added levels when it wakes up. I'm 99% sure that is how it works, guys. I've been told that by the devs. I haven't played around with it too much, but I'm pretty sure that is how affinity works. It's to do with difference between stats from unconscious to when it wakes up. Now, Tame Dinos adds per level. This is for every time you add a level into your dino, how much of a boost these stats are going to get. Now, as you can see, the melee, the damage has been put right down to 0.14 for the by default, and that's because they did that recent nerf. So if you want it to be like it used to be before the melee damage nerf, you put this up to 1, or roughly 1. You can't put the exact number in, which is kind of frustrating. Sometimes if you mess around a little bit, you can get it spot on. But yeah, this is all to do with how many levels they will get per level, well, how much stats they'll get per level you put in. I think that's kind of self-explanatory. I hope that I've explained that bit okay, guys. And very basically, if you want to go crazy, smash everything to the right. If you want to just mess around a little bit, do it subtly. I would highly recommend doing these subtly. I mean, you can go all the way up to, like, I guess it's 6 up here. I guess that would be a little bit crazy, and we might do a little bit of experimenting with that. But I hope I've explained that okay, and if I'm wrong in any way, just let me know in the comment section. I'm pretty sure that is it, to the best of my knowledge. Now, we've got more as well. Now, this stuff is more to do with actually running your own server rather than single player, although this can help you or hinder you in single player. So player stats per level, pretty self-explanatory. I like to think every time you get a level, this is the boost that you're going to get in each stat. So sometimes when you run a server, for instance, so I help run a PC server, we don't want people getting too much melee damage, because we find that with having 94 levels and loads of XP, that people can get ridiculous melee damage very easily. So what we do is we smash this down to, like, you know, half or something like that, and then it's a little bit more balanced. So this is just to do with trying to balance out your server. Now here we've got max experience points and Dino max experience points. I presume it's just to do with levels that you can get. I'm not sure what kind of numbers you would want to put in there, but you could experiment with that, and I'm sure within days the wiki is going to have the exact amount of experience points. But there are set amounts. If you look it up on the wiki, to reach level 94, for example, you need X amount of experience points. So you can adjust this so you can get more experience points, basically. Now we've got allow custom recipes. Obviously custom recipes are a big deal in this game, and they are a big deal in PvP servers on PC as well. So if you don't want people to be able to make crazy soups and stuff, I presume you just put this down to the left. We've got flyer platform unaligned basis. Not sure about that one. I'm sure it's not too important. Passive death hurt riderless dinos. I'm presuming that's to do with, like, well, basically if you can hurt passive dinos or not when they're riderless. And the more important one is only allow specific engrams. You might think, Jay, why would you want this in a single player world or in a server? The fun thing with this is again, it's if you're trying to run a PvP or PvE server and you want to get some balance going on. For instance, as we know, the Gigas and the Quetzes can be a bit of a nightmare in PvP. So maybe you want to take out Quetzal saddles, maybe you want to take out Giga saddles, maybe you want to take out RPGs because you feel like they're too strong. You can customize this here so you can try and get a either more balanced PvP experience, or that you can get an experience that you enjoy more. This is also because the devs know this is an extremely in-depth game with so many things in it that really balancing it is quite difficult. So they give you some options to try and balance it yourself. But anyway, I think I've explained as much as I can there. I really worry that this is kind of difficult to understand because it's me just waffling on, but I've tried to be as clear and concise as I possibly can, and hopefully you guys found that useful. If you did find it useful, don't forget to smash that like button, and if there are any mistakes in here, just let me know in the comment section. I'll go test them. I think like 99% of what I said is correct, and if there are any mistakes, I'll put annotations on the screen so anyone in the future watching this can obviously, if there is a mistake, they will then rectify it. Also, don't forget, if you found it useful, don't forget to share this video, like it, subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Obviously do daily ARK content at the moment. And that's it for today's video, guys. More adventures tomorrow. I know this was a bit of a slow one, bit of a boring tutorial, but more adventures tomorrow. I'll see you then.